Well, I got my hands on another celebrity guitar. What is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Guitar Gear Trader. I am Steve, coming at you from Nashville, Tennessee, as always. Thanks for being with me tonight. Do me a favor before we get into the show. Hit subscribe, hit the like button, hit the thumbs up, leave a comment, share this with your friends, follow me on Instagram at Guitar Gear Trader, and I'd really appreciate any of that support that you give me. It helps me with the algorithm, helps me with the channel. So, today I want to talk to you about a guitar that I was able to acquire the other day. I haven't done much trading on this channel as of recently. And I think that's because there hasn't been much out there to trade. And also, the things that I have, I kind of don't want to get rid of right now. I'm really enjoying all the things that I have, and I don't want to get rid of them. And that's kind of the point of this whole journey for me, is to get gear that I don't want to let go. So right now I feel pretty good about where I'm at and the gear that I have, but there is some other things that I want. And one thing that I've really wanted for a long time was a PRS Mark Tremonti signature model from the core lineup of PRS guitars. Way back in the day, I used to have one, and I'll show it to you right here. So way back when the Trader was a young buck, he was in a cover band out in New York City with some really good friends of mine, and I had two. By the end of the band's lifespan, I guess, when we were really hitting our stride, before I had kids, I had two main guitars in my rig, and the number one guitar that I had was this Mark Tremonti signature model that I bought brand new from Sweetwater. And I absolutely loved that guitar. That was my number one guitar for every show that we did. And we played every weekend for about 4 or 5 years around Brooklyn and Staten Island and Queens every weekend for, all those years. And for probably the last 2 years of that, run with that band, that was my number one guitar. My backup guitar, which was for, different tunings for different songs, was a Firebird Studio that I still have to this day. When I got married and I had kids, some of my gear had to go. And unfortunately, that guitar was one of them. Now, when I bought that guitar brand new was $3,500 at the time, and I bought it brand new from Sweetwater. And it broke my heart to sell it because it was the best playing guitar that I had. It was the guitar that my hands knew the best. It just felt right to me. I was able to get my tone kind of really locked in with that guitar in my rig. I had a lot of Les Pauls, and I've had other, Gibsons and Fenders, and nothing else really sounded the way I wanted to sound like that guitar did. And I've thought about that guitar ever since I gotten rid of it, way back in, probably 2012, 2013, whenever that was, when I was a young man. So as of recently, I have really been looking to get my hands on another Mark Tremonti special, signature edition guitar. And I got my hands on a Ted McCarty model, which was almost as good as that. The neck was a little bit different. The neck was a little bit chunkier than I wanted in the guitar, but it was a similar tone, same body shape. It was a hardtail. The Mark Tremonti one that I had was a floating bridge whammy bar. I actually like the stop tail better than the whammy bar. Everything stays in tune better. But I've been on the lookout for one of these guitars for a long time. And back in the day, I don't recall them coming in a lot of different colors. I remember them coming in charcoal. I remember them coming in maybe a fireburst or a sunburst type of color, but I don't remember them coming in all these different blues and greens and stuff like that they have today. And every once in a while you'll see them pop up, and they're pretty expensive. They're still pretty expensive. Even on the used market, people want, close to $300 for these guitars. I saw one on Facebook Marketplace the other day, or a couple of weeks ago, and somebody was selling one for like $2,200, $2,300, and I was like, wow, that's a really good price, and it's the color I want. I want that charcoal gray color. And I went to go message him about it, and it was already gone, unfortunately. So I missed out on it. So then I decided, you know what, I'm gonna start just doing my research and putting feelers out there. If you watch my last episode on the 5 tips on how to get a good deal, I started doing my 5 steps. It might not have been in order, okay, because I already know the guitar, I know what it's worth. So I kind of skipped number 1. Tip number 1 was do your research on the guitar, see what it's selling for, things like that. So I knew what the guitar was worth. I knew what a good deal was, and I knew what I wanted to pay. I wanted to pay less than $2,500 if at all possible, or trade for something of that value. But I really don't have anything to trade right now. So anything under $2,500 to me, I thought would be a good deal. So I went to Facebook. I put my search in there. I went on Reverb. I put my search in there. I went on Craigslist. Put my search in there. And one thing that I found was something on Reverb. So on Reverb, I find this listing for a Mark Tremonti PRS signature model, core model. And this is one of the pictures in the listing. And in the description, it says that the guitar was on tour with Candlebox. And he didn't say it was used by anyone in Candlebox. The person just said it was on tour with Candlebox. And if you take a look at the case, that's obviously not a PRS case, and it says C-Box on it. Okay, so Candlebox, C-Box. I don't know. I can't figure out what the SR means. It's not the initials of the person, and we'll get into that. But the thing about PRSs and things about people that buy PRSs is they want, what I've typically noticed is people want PRSs to be in pristine shape. So the majority of the Mark Tremonti models that were on Reverb at the time were going for, the buyers were asking for $3,000, $3,400, $4,300, depending on if it's a 10 top or a wood library or anything like that. I wasn't necessarily interested in any of the really higher end ones. I just want the core model, maybe a 10 top. And even the ones that aren't 10 tops, they're unbelievably figured maple, flame maple. So it's gorgeous anyway, regardless. But PRS owners and PRS players want PRS guitars that are almost immaculate. They don't want any buckle rash on them. They don't want any scratches on them. They don't want any modifications on them. They don't want much wear on it. I, on the other hand, am not like that. Okay, number 1, I really don't care if it's a little beat up. Number 2, I want to use it. I want to take it out with a band that I'm rehearsing with now, and I want to play it, and I don't mind if it has a little bit of wear. So the guitar that came from this listing was listed as used, fair condition. It was out on the road. This guy who was selling it said that it was out on the road with Candlebox, and the person that was using it on a nightly basis, and it had some wear and tear, and it had modifications. One modification that it has was that there are 2 tones and 2 volume knobs on this guitar, and the person who was using it decided that they were going to disconnect one of the volume and one of the tone, so that you only have one master volume and one master tone. That doesn't bother me at all. I'm a rhythm guitar player. I don't do a lot of switching between pickups. I typically leave the bridge pickup on all the time because I'm in a band that plays a lot of rock music. So I'm always looking for that kind of bridge kind of distortion. If I go to clean sounds a couple times, I'll flip it in the middle so I can get both pickups going at once, but for the most part, I'm just straight on that bridge pickup with distortion on it. So one volume knob is absolutely fine for me. I don't need two. And the one tone knob is fine for me. I don't necessarily need two for that either. The back of the neck is worn through a little bit, and there's definitely a lot of buckle rash on the back of it. And that's really pretty much it. And it doesn't have the original PRS case, which is a big deal for PRS collectors and PRS players. But again, for me, not so much. So this guy was asking for $2,300 on Reverb. I went out on a limb, which is one of my tips on how to get a good deal, is throw a price that you throw a price out and see if they take it. You never know. All they can do is say no to you, right? The absolute worst that can happen is they block you or they call you a name and then you don't get the guitar. What's the big deal, right? No harm, no foul. So I offered this guy $1,800. Now, $1,800 for this guitar would be the steal of the century. It's in perfect condition except for some wear and tear here and there. It's obviously it's not perfect. It's not mint, but it's the guitar I want. It's in the color I want. And I love stories. I love the fact that this may have been out on the road with Candlebox, which is a band that I really, really like, or really did like back in the 90s. So I throw him a price of $1,800. He comes back with like $2,100 down from $2,300. And I say to him, listen, with the sales tax in Tennessee being 10%, and the $150 that you want for shipping, the best I can do is $1,825. And he took it. I can't believe he took my offer of $1,825. So I got the guitar for about, I think it was 19 with tax and everything else. I think it came out to close to $2,000, right? It was 10% sales tax and $150 shipping. And it came out, I want to say, around $2,000. So start digging into, was this played by Candlebox? Was it not Candlebox? Was it an opening act of Candlebox? Something like that. So just so you know, well, the first thing I did was I was like, let me Google the Candlebox guitar player. So I type in Candlebox Guitarist, and it comes up with the name Mike Leslie. And I get this picture, which I couldn't believe I got this picture. This picture right here is of this guy with long blonde hair, and he's playing this charcoal gray Mark Tremonti PRS. Now, what I should have done was show you the guitar. So here it is. It's gorgeous. It's absolutely gorgeous. It really does not have much wear and tear on it. I mean, I've got my fingerprints all over it. But for the most part, like, this is the only thing that's on it. And you can't feel it. If I was blindfolded, I wouldn't be able to feel that. And there it is. It's gorgeous. Absolutely beautiful. Plays fantastic. Right? So I go online and I can't believe that I find a picture of a guy named Mike Leslie playing the guitar, or what looks to be the guitar. Now I have to start digging. So I click on this picture and I want to find out where this picture came from, because every time that I go and type in Mike Leslie, I keep getting pictures of this other guy in these other pictures. So I went to Instagram and I type in Mike Leslie, and I'm getting these pictures of this dude with the red hair and the sunglasses here. And it's definitely not this guy with the blonde hair. And it's kind of confusing to me. So I click on this picture and I click on the site that this picture was on, and it leads me to this like blog that somebody was putting together. I think this was a blog for a webpage, actually, for a venue in Kansas City, Missouri, or St. Louis, Missouri. And they did a page on Candlebox coming and playing a show. And that's where I found out this guy's name was Mike Leslie. But every time I search Mike Leslie, I get the guy with the red hair and the sunglasses. So I'm doing more and more digging, and I go to Candlebox's Facebook page, and I find this picture on the Candlebox Facebook page of the guy that I saw playing the guitar that I think I bought. And it says in the description here, join us in wishing a happy birthday to the one and only Island Guitar, at Island Guitar. And then it has, I guess, whoever took the picture, at Carlos Novias. So I click on the at Island Guitar in the picture, and it's a dead page. It's a dead Facebook page. I figured that was the username of this guy, Mike Leslie. So, but since it was a dead page, it didn't give me anything. So I look up Carlos Novias, and I find out that Carlos Novias is a photographer. Obviously, he took this great picture of Mike Leslie, and he's also a videographer. And I found his website that has a Candlebox music video that they did during COVID. So while everybody was stuck in the house, Candlebox decided that they were going to record a music video for a new song that they put out. And in that video, the lead singer of Candlebox introduces all of the players in the band. And he introduces one guy named Island Styles. And that's the stage name of Mike Leslie. So we can see here, this is the screen cap from the music video. And this is also another screen cap from the music video. All the different musicians in the band are playing in their houses. And here's Mike Leslie, aka Island Styles, playing rhythm guitar and some acoustic, some electric in the music video. These are just screenshots that I took from the music video. So now I know the guy is definitely in the band. So I did some more research on him, and I find out that he's been in the band for about 10 years. So he wasn't in the band back in the day when they were a huge alternative rock band. He's been a recent addition to the band, and he travels with the band. And I look him up even more, and I find him on a podcast. And he talks on the podcast, because the podcast was many years ago, that he is an artist for PRS. So PRS sponsors him. So he plays a lot of PRS guitars. And at the time when he was on this podcast, he mentioned that he was playing Custom 22 or Custom 24, as well as a Tremonti signature model. So I was like, oh, nice. So now I have some clarification that he at least plays Mark Tremonti signature models. Plus, I already have a picture of him playing the actual guitar right here. Okay. So, or what I think is the actual guitar, right? I still don't have proof that that's the actual guitar that he played. So now I do find him on Instagram, and I reach out to him. He hasn't gotten back to me, unfortunately. I figured he would, because he only has about 1,400 followers, 1,500 followers. So I figured he would see my message, since it doesn't look like he gets too much traffic. And I asked him, and I told him that I bought this guitar. It has Candlebox on the case. It has these 2 modifications that are really unique. Is this your guitar? Just want to know, just because I think it would be a cool thing to know. And he hasn't gotten back to me. I tried sending him pictures, but because we're not friends with each other on Instagram, the pictures don't go through. So he hasn't responded, and he hasn't accepted my friend request or anything like that. So I'm going to have to just deal with that. But what I did do was, I do watch Trogley. I don't know if anybody here watches Trogley's guitar show on YouTube, but he's like a detective about finding things like this about guitars. And one thing that I've seen him do is I've seen him match up wood grains on guitars before. So I was like, you know what? Let me see if there's any pictures that I can get of the guitar with any grains in it that are unique to the guitar. So on the top here, we have the guitar that I bought and that was a picture from the listing. I still don't have the guitar at this point while I'm doing all this detective work. And at the bottom, you have the picture of Island Styles, obviously. And if you look at the circled areas, there are two black lines that go, I guess, if you're holding the guitar straight up, it's going vertical. And I can even show you in this picture here. Where is it? Okay. Right here. And there's another one up right there. Okay, there's that black line and that black line. Okay. So if you take a look at the pictures, that's very unique. These wood grains are kind of like fingerprints for the wood. And you can see that black line in between these the two lower knobs is right there between those two lower knobs. And the one that's above this volume knob, the top volume knob, is also there. I tried to do an image. I tried to darken the image a little bit here so you can see them a little better. But those two lines are definitely in the right spot. Now, you got to remember, the angle at which I'm holding my guitar, the angle at which the picture of, the guitar on top, which is the guitar I bought, is at a different angle than the way Island Styles is holding his guitar. But also, if you take a look down here at the seam, this kind of like tiger print right here with these two lines under it match this line with these two lines under it, and so on and so forth. So this is definitely 100%, in my opinion, based on this evidence of this grain. I think this is the same exact guitar. And it's really cool that this guitar was on the road with a really, really cool band that I really liked when I was a young kid. And I still listen to today. If their songs come on, I still love their songs. I had a track list of here it is. Okay, so here is like their greatest hits album. I'm going to be real honest. I only know the first three songs. But I really love those first three songs. You and Far Behind were two enormous hits back in the 90s. And as soon as you hear the opening riffs for those two songs, you know exactly what songs they are. I found Cover Me later in life, and I absolutely fell in love with that song. Don't know the rest of them. Gonna give them a listen now, though, because I have a guitar that most likely played those songs live on tour with the band at some point. It might not have been written on that guitar or played on the records or anything like that, but still pretty cool that, and playing those songs live on a daily basis or a weekly basis or whatever in front of lots and lots of people, which is really cool. And it came to me. I really would love if Island, if you're watching or if someone tells you about it, I would love for you to reach out and tell me for sure 100% that this is your guitar or not, or if this guitar was in your possession or not. If you did the mods, I want to know if you did the mods or if someone else did the mods to the guitar. I would love to talk to you and interview you about why you did those mods and what kind of gear you use and what's it like touring with Candlebox. So if anybody out there has any contact with Island Styles, please send them my way. I'd appreciate it. That'd be really cool and be a cool thing for the channel to have a rock star on the show. So I kind of just wanted to share that with you. That's kind of what the essence of this whole channel is. It's basically to show you how to get a good deal. So I got a $4,000 guitar for $1,800. To me, that's a good deal. And I got it because I didn't mind a little bit of wear and tear. I didn't mind the guitar not being perfect. And I was ballsy enough to send an offer that I thought was really low, but almost not insulting. Okay, I thought maybe he would tell me to go kick rocks. I thought he'd tell me, or just not respond to me and just reject my offer. But I shot my shot, and maybe he was really desperate for money, or maybe he really needed to get rid of the guitar, but he accepted it, and I think I won out on that deal. And it's something I wanted. It's the exact thing I wanted, and I just came back tonight from rehearsals with that guitar, and it sounded great. I did I did block off the floating trem. Okay, that is one thing that I did, and the reason for that is that's my drop E flat guitar. So I have it down half step to E flat, and one of the songs that we're doing is the song Shine. I always think it's Candlebox, but it's not Candlebox. But I know you're out there saying what the song is. Leave it in the comments what song I'm talking about, or what band sings Shine. But it's drop D, so there's no way for me to drop D this guitar with a floating trem and have it stay in tune. All the strings are going to go out of tune. So I took a piece of wood and I blocked the floating tremolo, which is absolutely fine. I don't mind that at all. I'm not much of a whammy bar user anyway. But came home from rehearsal, sounded great. Sounded nice and heavy, nice and deep. Great tone, great action on it. I love the one volume knob. I wish it was the lower volume knob, because the top volume knob on PRSs for me always get in the way of me strumming. They're very freely moving knobs on PRSs. They don't have much resistance to them. So if I'm strumming and I accidentally hit one, I could turn it halfway down without a blink of an eye, or in the blink of an eye. Where it's not really like that with Gibsons. Gibsons, you have to kind of really, you have to really turn that knob, or make an effort to turn that knob. It's not going to turn if you just smack it with your hand by accident. But thank you all for watching. I really appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed the story. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think of the guitar. Let me know what you think of the deal. Like the show. Leave a comment. Follow me on Instagram at Guitar Gear Trader. Until next time, happy trading, happy hunting, everybody. Peace out.